One last question before we wrap up. I just had to ask you this because there's a lot of talk about this happening, and I know it's not ultimately it doesn't matter, but I just wanted your 2 cents on it. You must have heard of this comedian, Mr. Veer Das, whose litany of dreary complaints has become quite popular. Supposed to have been a comic act. I don't know what happened. Have you come across this?
Yes, yes, I have.
I have only had the good fortune of watching just bits and pieces of what he said, but it looks like it went on and on and on. So, what are your 2 cents? And do you think that the Indian right, if one were to call it that, do you think we have taken umbrage too soon, or do you think we've just been too reactionary, or should we just dismiss Mr. Veerdas or let him be? What are your 2 cents?
I think we give a lot of fuel to people who are craving for public attention and publicity. We do that very soon and very quickly. These criminal cases filed, and if I don't know in this case, but usually going on rampages and violence and all that, it just fuels. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. They are looking for this publicity, they're looking for this victimhood, they want to play the victim card, and we're giving all of that to them on a platter. Whatever I heard his long monologue, I think badly written, badly delivered, and a lot of it I did not agree with. But yes. I think he has a right to say what he has to say. Nobody can prevent anybody from saying, and things like, oh, but he was saying that in another country and all that. I think that is very specious today, in today's day and age, where through the digital medium, you're sitting in Hyderabad, I'm in Bangalore, you could be in New York, I could be in Moscow, and we could still be having this conversation. It just doesn't matter where you say what you say. It is the very fact that you say something, that is what matters. And a lot of things, I even tweeted about it, saying, while on the one hand, we are told that terror has no religion, but then gang rape certainly seems to have a religion.
Exactly.
The scheme of things. And as we always know, patriarchy also has a caste. So these are the two Indias which we are navigating to, the hypocrisies. So it would have been so much good for the so-called right, as you mentioned, to do a counter spoof, exposing each of, if somebody is trying to corner you through words, corner the person back with words of your own, which are more powerful, which are more better, and which are more, evocative, rather than go into all these, of course, just as he has a right to say what he has said, the Constitution also guarantees people who feel offended to go and file cases, because the Article 19(1) circumscribes free speech with all these curious things, which says if it is affecting someone's sentiments, how do you quantify sentiments? I may be offended, you may not be offended, someone else may be very offended, so you can't quantify offense. But then our Constitution gives space for these gray areas. We are not a absolutist free speech constitution at all. So legally, one is allowed to go and file cases. When the Wendy Doniger episode happened as well, Dinanath Batra was well within his rights to go to court. He didn't go and vandalize Wendy's house or burn her books or something. He took a very peaceful and a legal route to go to courts and said, this is a bunch of lies and this offends my sentiments as a practicing Hindu. So there's nothing wrong in doing that. So, but by doing that, of course, Wendy's book is very important to counter and so on, because it lays the ground for several generations of calumny. But some Veerdas here, there, who says something and so on, go on and on about them, give them so much of space in media, every day news debates about them. You're giving the demon what it likes the most.
Actually wants.
True. Yeah, so I think, I would have loved to see, some of them have been doing this, but a lot of other people who posing as stand-up comedian, there was nothing comic or funny in what he said. So it was a monologue, a tirade against the country. So someone who could counter this in a beautiful prose, and record this and bombard the social media with counter points, that would have been so much more joyous to see, where we've always been this civilization of Vad, Vivad, Samvad, Shankaracharya and Mandan Mishra, the debates that have gone on even between opponents. I think we need to reclaim that space rather than this quick outrage that happens. But it's I understand where this is coming from, Pujitaji, where for the longest time we have allowed people to talk what they want, do what they want. Now the same Veer Das or anybody could not say the same about some other faith. And get away with it without it being decapitated from the body. So, but then when it comes to the Hindu faith, it's a very easy punching bag.
Free for all.
We've all laughed at that spoof in Jaane Bhi Do Yaro, where the whole,
the Sita and that
Draupadi and all that.
Yes,
today I see on social media some school in Haryana or something which did some spoof on Ram Leela. People are putting their foot down on it and saying you cannot demean our gods in such a bad way. I mean, this is something that, so it's a thin line how much umbrage you take to the extent that you become so virulent.
You become so sensitive.
Sensitive about everything. And sometimes it's good to probably just loosen up, laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself so seriously. But the risk of doing that is that you give a long rope which gets pulled and you will probably hung by the same rope someday. So it's a thin line which we need to decide how much and what all to give importance to. What is the proportion? Is it going to have far-reaching impact? How much are we to this thing? But at the same time, as I said, peacefully, legally going and filing cases is fortunately or unfortunately allowed as per law. And so while call to violence or burning someone's house or killing someone, cutting off their hands, all that has happened in India, where in Kerala, TJ Joseph's hands were cut off because something about the prophet and so on. Kamlesh Tiwari lost his life.
But this doesn't feature in Veer Das's tirade, unfortunately.
Yes. So yeah, the counter to his tirade could have been 10 tirades which say, yes, we come from two Indias where Veer Das gets away, but Kamlesh Tiwari loses his head and Joseph loses his hands. So yeah, so that would be a better counter than going on this rampage and fueling their publicity hunger, which they claim and want. Now everybody is Googling him. Probably 90% of India didn't even know such a man.
And exactly. His purpose is served,
Yes.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.